dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. This time next week, the recanvass of Tuesday night's gubernatorial election will be well underway. Around 5,000 votes separate Governor Matt Bevin and Governor-elect Andy Beshear. WYMT's Will Puckett caught up with a UK law professor who says this is not unusual for either man.
This walk off the stage by Governor Bevin signaled the beginning of what could be a long fight.
We are not conceding this race by any stretch. Not a chance.
Both Bevin and Beshear are no strangers to close races.
We've had close elections. We've had elections even closer than this one. Indeed, the last two really close elections were when Matt Bevin won the Republican primary in 2015 and when Andy Beshear won the Attorney General's contest in 2015.
Stephen Voss is an associate professor at the University of Kentucky and is not surprised this is playing out the way it is.
This is a fairly straightforward process, mostly electronic. It ought to go pretty quickly, and it's fairly reliable.
Voss says the chances of gaining 5,000 votes are slim.
I mean, if this were a question of what you check with a recount, like some kind of error that's happening on a voter-by-voter level, then yeah, 5,000 seems like a lot.
But as Governor Bevin said, this is a process that he is well within his rights to use.
I'm on the one hand saying it's reasonable for Governor Bevin and the Republicans to at least ask for this check. But at the same time, I'm saying the chance that they're going to be happy with the outcome of this is very, very low because the system is pretty solid.
The recanvass is set to begin November 14th. Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes said she expects the recanvass to take about 1 week.
It's been another gloomy day here in the mountains, but most of that rain's starting to move out, which means that cold air is about to filter in right behind it. Interstate 75 into London. You can see the rain starting to die down as we head into the evening hours, but it was definitely soggy a little bit earlier today. Looking into Stonecrest, sun starting to set. Still dealing with those mostly cloudy skies. It's been soggy throughout the day. Of course, you can see that here on satellite and radar, but some of it's starting to break up just a little bit. So scanning the skies now, seeing another kind of band of rain moving in through parts of Breathitt County all the way up into West Virginia, even down into parts of Laurel County. But you can see starting to break up, and we're going to get a break here soon. But those temperatures, you can see those 30s, Lexington and over into Moorhead as well. Those 40s from Prestonsburg, Jackson down into parts of Somerset, still in the 50s though, Harlan down into Bell County. But compared to this time yesterday, a lot colder, anywhere about 15 to almost 20 degrees cooler, especially if we're looking up into Moorhead and into Lexington. Temperatures tonight are expected to drop around the mid-20s. We could hang on to a little bit of that moisture with those temperatures falling. Could see a few flurries, especially for those higher elevations, but cold air continues as we head into your Friday. I'll have those details coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. A man broke into a home armed with a hammer, terrifying the people inside. One of them was able to subdue the man with a gun. As WYMT's Phil Pendleton tells us, the suspect claims he was just trying to get help, but court records show he served prison time for a previous home invasion.
It was 6:30 Monday morning when police received a call that a homeowner had captured an intruder, and they were holding the man at gunpoint.
There's a lot going through my mind because it could have been a lot worse.
She didn't want her face on camera, but said her brother-in-law came over and helped hold the man until police arrived.
And I'm surprised that the subject hadn't been shot, to be honest with you.
The victim said she was sitting at her kitchen table when she heard what sounded like a gunshot. Then a man broke his way through her living room window. She said he stood in front of her with the hammer drawn back. But oddly enough, he claimed he was the one scared to death. Police say that he's 24-year-old Jacob Cole.
And I just screamed, and from that point, he just threw himself down on the floor and said, "I'm not going to hurt you, ma'am. I just need help."
And Cole is no stranger to this kind of crime. He was convicted in 2017 and had just been released from parole from a home invasion that happened in Jessamine County in 2014. In Lincoln County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Lincoln County Sheriff says they're not sure on a motive, but said Cole told them he had been under the influence of meth. 3 people charged in a Laurel County murder case will appear back in court next month. Investigators say Christy and Joseph McFadden admitted they had a fight with Christy's mom, Sherry Rose, when she was stabbed to death last year. They also admitted to trying to clean up the evidence. Michael Hinkle is accused of helping dispose the body. Their next pretrial conference is set for December 12th. An aide to Vice President Mike Pence is testifying on Capitol Hill today as part of the impeachment inquiry. Jennifer Williams was on the phone call between President Trump and the Ukrainian president. CBS News confirmed reports that President Trump wanted Attorney General William Barr to give a news conference saying the president did nothing wrong. President Trump denied that Washington Post report in a tweet. A former Kentucky accountant accused of paying for sex with young women who were addicted to drugs faces federal conspiracy charges. The Lexington Herald-Leader reports 49-year-old Mark Millslegel was charged Monday in federal court with conspiring to distribute drugs and conspiring to engage in sex trafficking. Prosecutors allege that 72-year-old Logan Ray Towery provided drugs to young women, then passed them on to Millslegel for sex. Towery also faces charges. One victim told police she was 17 when she first met Towery. A new Secret Service report looked at incidents of targeted school violence across the country and found many of them could have been prevented. On hand for the report's unveiling, fathers who lost their children in the 2018 massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, Florida. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from the Secret Service headquarters in Washington.
These findings highlight what we've known for 20 years, that a lot of these attacks are preventable.
The chief of the U.S. Secret Service National Threat Assessment Center unveiled warning signs to look for in a new report on targeted school violence. The research examined 41 incidents across the country involving firearms or other weapons between 2008 and 2017. While the report did not analyze the 2018 Parkland massacre, that attack, along with the one in Santa Fe, Texas, prompted school personnel and government agencies to step up efforts to study the problem.
The goal of this process is to intervene before an attack can occur.
According to their findings, there is no profile of a student attacker or the type of school targeted, but the report found that attackers usually had multiple motives, the most common involving a grievance with classmates. Most attackers used firearms, and most were often acquired from the home. All attackers exhibited concerning behaviors, and most communicated their intent to attack.
This report says in many cases someone observed the threatening behavior but did not report it.
Prevention is everyone's responsibility. It is not just on law enforcement alone. It's not just in schools alone.
Tony Montalto lost his daughter Gina in the Parkland massacre. He is now dedicated to making sure other parents don't experience his same pain.
We need to find the children that are having difficulties, provide them with the services to make them able to fit in our society, in our communities.
Montalto and the Secret Service are taking their message on the road, holding seminars in several U.S. cities. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The report found most attackers had a history of school disciplinary actions and many had prior contact with law enforcement. They were also often victims of bullying. If you prefer the ease of grocery pickup, Kroger has a new deal for the holiday season. The grocery chain is waiving the usual fee for its pickup service at all locations through the rest of the year. The fee is usually around $4.95. You might have seen yesterday about Kroger's new rebranding campaign. This offer is a part of that. The Cincinnati-based company has also unveiled a new logo, increased digital shopping, and launched home delivery services. A Kentucky distillery has completed the first part of a multi-million-dollar expansion project. Heaven Hill Distillery in Bardstown unveiled part of its newly renovated visitor center. The $17 million expansion includes 3 new tasting rooms. When the project is completed, the center will boast a new rooftop restaurant and upscale bar. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, Veterans Day is Monday, but one school held a special program for vets this afternoon. We'll take you there.
And cold air moves in tomorrow after that cold front moves through tonight. We're looking at a pretty nice weekend ahead, but another system could bring us some trouble as we head into the new work week. I'll have those details coming up in just a little bit.
2 people were flown out last night in Whitley County after what police are calling an accidental shooting. We'll have more in just a few minutes.